Welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD. Last time, we had no audio. Oh, we also kind of learned about the problem with the Rito and Valoo and Medley and yeah, all that unimportant stuff. What was really important was the GameCube audio changes. Absolutely. Anyway, this time we are going to go follow after Medley and head into Dragon Roost Cavern. The largest dungeon in the game. So big, it's only one room. Okay, jokes aside, I actually really do like this. I don't know if this was meant to be a visual gag, but it definitely seems like it, where the first major dungeon you enter is literally just one room. And obviously it's going to open up after we do this real quick block puzzle. And by real quick, I mean, it's done. But I just find that to be very, very funny. First and foremost, we have some bokoblins to deal with, so let's get rid of them real quick and call it a night, shall we? There we go. That was really easy. Now, I've talked about this before, but oh, you got a joy pendant. We need these for something. These pendants are said to flock to those who spread joy like butterflies to nectar-filled blossoms. Very neat. Moving back to the dungeon. By the way, you need a lot of those, collect as many as possible. But again, moving on. So, we have to pick up weapons, or we have the ability, rather, to pick up weapons of those who have fallen in battle. Or just weapons we find lying around, either or. I prefer the more epic sounding fallen in battle weapons, though. Anyway, moving on. We learned about this back in the Forsaken Fortress, and I talked about it extensively and talked about how interesting it was and how cool it was for the time. But also, they used this as a means to solve puzzles. What we did just here is pretty similar to something that you could do in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, where you pick up a stick. But this time, you picked it up from an enemy. That wasn't a Deku Baba. So that's pretty neat. And you can use these to solve puzzles. In this one, you don't have to worry about actually burning. The torch will go out, but you don't have to worry about it actually burning. These are interesting pots. They're interesting for a reason that we're not going to get into right now, other than, you know, just water coming out of them. But they will be pretty interesting later. Later. And also, before I forget, this jar that has some weird voodoo magic liquid coming out of it. It's actually gas, but let's keep calling it liquid. If you hop into it, you'll just shoot right out of it. This will not be the case forever, and you'll see why that is later. That has a pretty important purpose. It serves as something that already existed in other Zelda games, specifically 2D ones up till that point, although I think it was pretty prominent in 3D ones as well. I've never really had to use the feature, so I don't really remember. But anyway, we're heading into a volcano, and as you can see, there better be some freaking lava, or else I'm asking for a refund. Disneyland wasn't how I expected it. I'm mad. But no, there's plenty of skulls, plenty of lava, just as a dungeon should be. And while we're walking through this dungeon, I do want to say something. This game's dungeons are incredibly linear. Ocarina of Time definitely has some linear dungeons. Majora's Mask broke out of that. But, just so you know, why am I getting hit by these keys? I know they're annoying, but they're not so bad that I should be getting hit by them left, right, and center. Anyway, moving on. Just so you know, Wind Waker HD and Wind Waker in general, since dungeon design wasn't changed between the two versions, it is a step back in some people's eyes from Majora's Mask, dungeon design-wise. So, just keep that in mind while we go through these dungeons. Now, we can finally learn why these water pots are so interesting. If you throw them onto lava, the lava hardens, and you can jump on here and make your way across. I don't know how Link's feet did not just dissipate after he stepped into that, but it allows you to get over to places you couldn't get over to before. So that's pretty neat. I really like this idea. It's used pretty frequently throughout this dungeon. It's a pretty important part, so use it to your advantage. There we go. I could just jump across. I didn't even need that. I could have just jumped across there. Now, I want to talk about something that doesn't appear a lot in Zelda games. Newbie traps. As I keep approaching this, you'll notice a red shoe. if I come up here and I climb up as fast as I can. Oh, okay. Well, my timing was bad. What I mean by my timing was bad is that my timing was actually good. If you jump over here and, being the speedrunner that you are, pick up this red chew jelly, which is important for making potions later, as I've already talked about. But no, actually, if you're a speedrunner, and by a speedrunner I mean a moderately quick gamer, and you climb up this ladder as fast as you can, the positioning of that chew is just perfect, so it'll walk up to you and then jump at you and knock you off the ladder and make you fall down and have to fight it. And it's not a difficult newbie trap, because as you saw, I got hit by a chew, and that did, what, half a heart? Wait, no, that was the keys earlier, I think. Anyway, the point is they don't do that much damage, so it's not like actually a really annoying newbie trap where it's like, oh, you died because you didn't know about this thing that was happening earlier. But it's just kind of a funny one. And on repeat playthroughs, it gets a bit annoying, but on the first playthrough, it's like, they got me, they certainly did. Anyway, moving on to more important things. There was a bokoblin that just did a jump attack and broke through these wooden things. These wooden boards. That's the right word. And we can't do that with our weapon. We cannot at all. So, if we pick up this weapon and swing, we can. As I said earlier, crazy stuff going on here. It's really fun that they take the idea that they introduced in this game of holding others' weapons and using them, or they use them in puzzles. Though they're very, very, very basic puzzles. Another small key. That is our second one in this dungeon in the span of 2.5 seconds. It's actually been longer than that, but we're not gonna talk about that. There's a lot of chews here. It's really good to get red chew jelly here. I personally don't use potions all that much, so they're not all that helpful. But, you know, cool to know either way. And I wanted to wait till this point to talk about the linearity of these dungeons in more depth. Because if I throw this rock, okay, that missed. First of all, let's talk about this pretty neat puzzle. What you want to do is pick up these rocks here, throw it, hit the bomb, make a chain reaction, and blow that bomb up. Kinda neat. Anyway, if you notice, this is where we started exactly. Right over there is actually... Why am I doing this? If you press in the right stick, then you can actually just do first-person mode, and this is a little bit better for what I'm trying to do. We came over there just recently, and we're back to where we started. Every single piece of backtracking that you need to do in a majority of these dungeons, so maybe not every piece, but a majority of the backtracking that you need to do in these dungeons is done for you. It's a very... The backtracking that you need to do is actually forced upon you in a very linear way. And that's not all that bad, in my opinion. Some people may not like that, but for me, I very much enjoy Wind Waker and its dungeons because of the fact that the dungeons are rather linear, and everything that you need to do is thrown into the path that you are already walking on. Because that just means that on repeat playthroughs, I can really quickly and easily just zoom through every single dungeon pretty quickly, and I find that to be enjoyable. Not everyone does, so if you don't enjoy these dungeons and they're designed because they're overly linear, then that's fair. I can understand that. They're not for everyone, and I can see why not a lot of people would love these dungeons and their design, but I really do. Speaking of some cool design in my eyes, my view, this right here. We actually get to walk outside. This dungeon doesn't take place entirely on the inside of Dragon Race. No. We actually get to... Why did I not hit him? Why? Why did I not hit him at all? That's stupid. Anyway, this takes place on the outside, and it's a nice visual touch. I really like stuff like this. I think it's kind of neat. I want that joy pendant right now. And something else interesting to mention. That bokoblin is placed in a very jerkish position. Because... I think I talked about this earlier in the series. You can actually break the wood on these bridges. If you're fighting that bokoblin, you can break enough of that rope in order for the bridge to fall. It'll kill the bokoblin, but it will also kill you. So that's another thing to watch out for. That's kind of a jerk placement of that. Kind of neat, though. I do think that makes for a little bit of an interesting bit of combat there, where you have to rush at him. That's why I rushed at him and did a jump attack instead of just waiting for him to come closer to me. This right here is an albatross. No, that's actually not his name. That's a Mario enemy, but it's a little bird guy. Kind of neat. He drops feathers when he dies. Specifically golden feathers. Ooh. I'm gonna be rich. A certain strangeness emanates from the quill of this beautiful, shining golden feather. Winged girls are said to be infatuated with these treasures. I love this strangeness emanating part, especially from a golden object, because I had a friend who was like, hey guys, let's spend the entire day watching all of the Lord of the Rings movies. The extended cuts, by the way. Meaning that we were going to be there from 10 a.m. to 10 to 11 p.m. We didn't stay that long. We left at about 4 o'clock, but I had a lot of fun while I was there. Kind of a neat idea. We're probably going to finish up watching them later. We didn't actually watch the movies all the way through. We were kind of just hanging out the whole time. Anyway, enough of that. Going back to Zelda. A lot of these puzzles are very, very simple. Because, well, it is the first dungeon. That sucks. My aim is doo-doo. But yeah, it's the first dungeon. If you're expecting anything incredibly in-depth, then sorry, you're out of luck. But a lot of these puzzles, while being incredibly simple, are kind of neat. I like them. I like this dungeon a lot. This is cool. Okay. I just talked about how there's not all that much interesting stuff going on. I lied to you. Because this seems like a really basic block pushing puzzle. Because it is. You pull out these blocks, and if you pull out enough of them, you can get your way up to that doorway. But that's if you don't want to get money. Because what I'm planning on doing is pulling out these blocks just a little bit. Just enough to the point where the other blocks won't fall down, but also just enough to the point where I can come through here and crawl right into this hole. Because if you do, money, as I already stated. This is a really cool secret, and I didn't know about it, and I've played this game about 3 times at this point, or at least this part of the game, probably about 4 or 5 times at this point, and I never knew about that until maybe like my 4th playthrough. That's so cool. I love that idea, and as you can see, there's going to be another one for us. You can see all the secrets. The hint to these secrets was actually these holes right here in the corner. At first I thought those were just for rats to come through, and then rats never did come through, which I guess should have been a little bit of an indicator that, something's afoot. But, you know, me being the smart kid I am, I just didn't notice. Alright, let's squeeze through here. Lovely. And then we can get some more money. Because, again, money is important. Have I said that before? Maybe a few dozen times. Maybe a dozen is being a little bit too gracious with that, but I've said it quite a lot, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make. Moving on. This block pushing puzzle is out of my way. And also, I probably should have noticed that rats wouldn't come out of that because, oh. Link, have you seen any filthy thieving rats around? I have. I know they are annoying, but keep your wits about. They are only rats. If you spread bait near their nest, they may share their store of treasures with you. Why don't you try it? Huh. Why don't we... Oh, pause. I don't want these rats getting me. Why don't I try it? Alright. Very cool of you. Delicious. Hey, I got something real good I'll sell to you for real. What'll it be for you? Red potion or blue potion or nothing? I don't think I'm gonna need any of these, but that's really cool, cheapskate. Come on. I gave you bait. Shut your mouth. That's really cool, though. I really like that. I never knew about that because I always just ignored what he said. I'll let you know this right now. There's a lot of things I've skipped over in games because I don't pay attention to text. I've gotten significantly better about that as of late, especially since I've been doing Let's Plays. I've learned that, you know, reading text is quite often beneficial. So as I've played more games, I've learned more and more and more to read text. But first time playing through this, I definitely ignored that. I definitely didn't care about that, but that's really neat. Completely useless to me, but that's still neat. Okay, let's actually open the chest this time. Also, I just skipped over that really fun puzzle where you throw the stick really far, you catch it on fire, and then you throw it to light that on fire. That's neat. I really like that one as well. A lot of these puzzles are, again, basic, yet so cool. I love them so much. And maybe that's just my inner Zelda fan talking, where every single puzzle that I've seen, I'm just like, oh my god, that's so cool. But oh my god, that's so cool. And now we have the dungeon map and the compass. So that means going through this, this should be pretty easy. I just reminded myself of my AP Calculus teacher, who literally every single time he says something that nobody understands, he's like, so this should be, and then he waits for people to say something, and then he just goes, easy. And then everyone's like, no, you're wrong. This isn't easy. Though it really should be. We're not that far into calculus. Anyway, more importantly, get a small key from there. Oh! Also, pay very close attention to where you're fighting. Zelda combat's not all that intricate, but depending on where you're fighting, it can get a little bit more difficult. Okay. Smashing this open so I can grab one of these, light it on fire, and take the torch along the way. Let's light this up. There are a bunch of keys over here. Let's get rid of them by just spin attacking. Please, come closer. Thank you. Did one of those? Okay. No, it just sends them flying. I completely forgot. In a lot of Zelda games, as you attack keys, they will just go flying. And I always forget that. So when I'm trying to get my spoils from battle, the 1 rupee that they drop, I'm always like, what? Where do they go? Or I'm like, did I accidentally hit a keys? Did I hit a keys that was all the way over there? No, it just went flying. Nothing too special. Another joy pendant. Very, very cool. Again, we are going to need a lot of these for a side quest that I've already disclosed earlier in this playthrough. So grab as many as you can. Light these on fire and that should open up the way, right? Pretty basic room. Kind of reminds me of that room in Majora's Mask, where there was just a bunch of, it was completely dark. It was a little bit more interesting than that, but it's a first dungeon. What can I say? So, that jar from earlier now has a purpose. There were always these warp points in Zelda dungeons that allowed you to warp to the boss or to somewhere in the dungeon, and this has the same effect. That's really about it. Same effect, it's just got a fancy new coat of paint. I believe that you don't have a choice in the matter of which one you go to. It's just whichever, because there will be a pot at the boss door as well. So you just go to the one that takes you farthest into the dungeon. Nothing too special about that. You don't get to choose where you want to drop out, or hop out of the pot, rather. This room. Okay. So, there's only one bokoblin here. This one stinking bokoblin. So, we kill him. He's gone. Well, he is definitely gone, but the door is definitely still locked. Why? Well, there's a lot of pots here. I'm gonna break every single last one of them. And eventually, we'll see that there are bokoblins hiding within the pots. You have to break a lot of these pots in this room to find all the bokoblins in order to exit the room and continue on with your adventure. This is pretty dang neat. I like this a lot. You can memorize where all the bokoblins are, like I knew that one was going to be in there. They don't change depending on your playthrough, like some certain aspects of this game. But it's really interesting. Again, not all that difficult, but I think that's just really cool. Sue me. I think it's cool. Anyway, I'm going to break all these pots. I'll cut back to when I'm done breaking all of them. I actually don't think there's that many more. There's a few more up top, but I do want to get, oh yeah, there's really not that many more. I won't cut. I was going to cut because I thought up here there were a lot more, but no. No. There's really not. Oh yeah, so that thing OSHA taught you about, is that what his name was? OSHA? Sharkman! The thing Sharkman taught you about actually came in handy, because you can break pots via just knocking them down from a shelf. That's pretty neat. Oh, this thing. This thing that I cannot currently remember the name of. This thing. They introduce you to this already annoying enemy on the most annoying grounds to fight him ever. So, right here, you want to hit him while his eye is open, but you can only do damage to him after he stops being on fire. Well, he stops being on fire after you hit him in the eye, but he starts catching on fire again, or he catches back on fire if he falls back into the lava. Well, as you just saw, I hit him in the eye, but he also has lava all around him. So he takes knockback damage and then falls immediately back into the lava. Another way to deal with these guys is to just take these pots and throw them at them. But again, knockback damage. It's really frustrating. There we go, that's the best way to deal with him. Throw that water at him while he's close to that edge. It's really not all that bad. Doesn't mean it's not annoying though. Now what I have to do here is take one of these water pots, come over here and see that there is a lava geyser shooting up in the air. That was a very bad throw, so let's try that again. As the lava geyser goes up, what you're gonna do is throw this water pot, land it on top of the water geyser, lava geyser, definitely not water, definitely a lava geyser, and it'll shoot you up in the air. That's pretty neat. I like that a lot. That's really dang cool. Have I been saying that a lot this episode? I think I have, because it's true. It's really dang cool. It's also 12 o'clock at night, so, oh, sorry, my apologies, 1 a.m. So, yeah, that's kind of what my vocabulary has devolved to at this point. So over here, there's going to be another pot. This takes you to none other than the other pots, which I'm not going to show off. This up here, we've seen something like this before, and we can't do anything about it. There's no water pots here. We can't cross this, I almost said lake. Definitely not a lake of lava. This little tiny chasm of lava. I don't think chasm's really the right word for that either, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be confident in my choice and say that, yeah, it's a chasm. It's not a chasm. It's definitely not a chasm. Anyway, we're going to blow that up and move on, because we can't do anything in that room at the moment. Instead, we're going to go through that incredibly obvious loading zone and move on. There he is, Falu. There's also more over there. Can't do anything with that. But what we want to do is run. As we walk up these stairs, the stairs will fall behind us. Makes a really cool scene. Sadly, if you're facing forward, you're really not going to see it, which is a little frustrating. I've come to take her out on a date, and you can do nothing to stop me. So Medley got captured. She did her best, but her best wasn't enough. Because these guys are green bokoblins. They're not the normal blue ones. Oh, no, no, no. If Breath of the Wild has taught me anything, color changes are not just for show. And now, we get to fight a moblin. We saw these guys in the Forsaken Fortress. They gave us a lot of crap, but we can finally take one on head to head. He does a lot of damage and does really big wind-up swings, so you really shouldn't get hit by him all that easily. In fact, I'm going to let you see some of that. Oh, that one was pretty quick. Come on. Please. Swing. Or do that. Still, very long wind-up. Oh! Very long wind-up. You just need to be good enough to, you know, notice it and not be a dingus. They take a bit of damage too, but they're really not all that bad. On their own, they're pretty harmless. In larger groups, they're not really that harmless. You got a skull necklace. This is rather off-putting accessory would appear to be of little value, but shown to the right person, it is apparently of great worth. I mean, that's fair enough. People collect weird things. I kind of want to break these pots. It's been like a 30-minute recording, and Medley's waiting for me, but I kind of want to break these pots. I'll be right there, sweetheart. I'll be right there. Alright, I'm coming. Link, you came to rescue me. Oh, thank you. I have to tell you what I found out. This is terrible. Some creature is doing awful things to the Great Valu's tail. That's why he's so angry. The Great Valu's tail hangs down into the room below here. There's gotta be something in there. I wonder if those mean monsters who captured me have something to do with it. We've gotta do something. Now, before it's too late. I'll go and tell everyone what's happening. Here, Link, use this to get out of here. It's what I used to get this far. It's a device we used before we evolved wings. Neat! You got the grappling hook, but more importantly, she talked about evolving. There's something interesting I want to talk about the Rito and evolving, but I'm going to do that later. But also, more importantly, why have you kept this for that long? Evolution takes so long to happen. I can't pinpoint an exact period of time, but it takes so long to happen. How do you still have this device? Things are lost to time, but I guess this is the one thing that wasn't, and they're perfectly fine with giving this historical artifact to some random kid. I mean, they're kids. What do they know? This was an item used by the Rito people before they had wings. Set it to Y, on the item screen, and then press that button to aim. Use this item to latch onto anything with a on it. Very graceful way of wording that, I know. You can even use it to haul things up from the sea floor while you're on your boat. There's also another interesting factor that contributes to this item, but we'll talk about that later as well. Here, Link, climb up on that ledge over there so I can show you something. Of course. Next time, on Let's Play The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD, I will climb up on that ledge to see what she has to say. But again, that's for next time. Until then.